Welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
I'm Taurian B.
We got that Aviles guy here.
Yo.
We got funny Julius here. And today, guys.
Hello.
And today, guys, we'll be getting into Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith is the sixth studio album from LL Cool J. It was released in 1995 under Def Jam, of course. The album went double platinum and had such notable features, notable singles like Hey Lover, Doing It, and Loungin'. This was seen as as a return to form for LL because previously from this he released 4 Shots to the Dome, and 4 Shots to the Dome didn't really do that
14 shots to the dome.
My bad. Okay.
It's 14 shots to the dome.
So 14 shots to the dome. And it wasn't received that well. The album actually flopped. And a lot of critics after Mr. Smith came out was really embraced this album because he managed to marry two of his styles so perfectly. So he was known as the Playboy lover, whatever, that made kind of R&B lane of rap. But then he also had the style of him on Asha, where he really got to the bars. So this album really gave you two of LL's sides so well. This was a great pick because when I listened to this album this go round, I forgot how much I liked this album. This was really, really dope. And for it coming out in 95, I think you had the peak of you had Biggie doing his thing, you had Pac doing his thing, and LL had his own lane and was really successful in that lane. So let's open it up. How do we feel about this album? Torian, this was your pick.
All right. So for me, the reason why I wanted to pick this album is because right now we are living in the era of Drake, and a lot of people know LL as the actor, and a lot of people there's jokes about LL but LL coined the term GOAT for rap. He after Muhammad Ali always called himself the greatest of all time. LL coined the term GOAT and was also known for a very long time as the best rapper out, and he kind of set the precedent for longevity in rap. Most rappers that came out at the same time as LL, by 1995, no one really wanted to hear their music. Granted, KRS-One had put out the Art of Boom Bap 2 years before that. He was looked at as old and played out. So to piggyback off of Regg, the reason why this album was such a big deal for LL was because 14 Shots to the Dome was his attempt at making a G-Funk album, because he had a West Coast sound, and a lot of people were giving him flack for that. So this album, me personally, I would say I'm pretty sure Drake his album and study LL Cool J's career. Because remember when Drake first came out, he didn't have muscles. He wasn't in shape or anything like that. But then I think he realized he had to pair that along with the sex symbol image. He had to be in shape. He had to be muscular. That's why he takes himself a little bit more seriously. If you remember when Drake first came out, he was kind of quirky and he made fun of himself. Now, Drake, it seems like Drake doesn't have a sense of humor. If you noticed it, and only time he thinks something is funny about him if he's making the joke. If he's the butt of someone else's joke, he has an issue. He takes everything personally. He takes himself very seriously, how L does. Also, with this album, him working with the Trackmasters produced 7 out of 12 tracks on this album. And for me, that was really, really big because I don't think that the Trackmasters get enough credit for the era that they carved out in hip hop. Because at one point it was Trackmasters, the Hitman from Bad Boy, and Puff. Everybody gives Puff some credit, but it was really the Hitman that was crafting the production, right? Derek D. Angeletti and Stevie J and those guys. Also, I also say that I give credit to this album being the dry run before they worked on Big Willie style with Will Smith. A lot of people might not see the mirror images of Will Smith and LL Cool J. It's just that LL kind of stayed a little bit more street, and so he kept his cred where Will Smith went all the way commercial. Masters working with LL let them know, like, all right, we can make commercial hits with a rapper. We just have to make sure, like, you know, we work on like the lyricism or work like on the content. And that's why with this album, 2 times platinum was a big ass deal. So then them working with Will Smith, who was already post Independence Day, like Will Smith could have put out an album of him just making noises and it probably would have did 1 million records. So this album was just really significant to me because it kind of like laid the blueprint for a lot of things that we see now in hip hop with artists, especially with artists having the duality of street and ladies man. I rest my case.
Okay. And Danny, what you got for this one?
And it might be a little bias in this, I think it's a classic album. It's one of the albums I remember my older siblings, all 3 of them playing. My sister and both my brothers. I think it's LL's best album. And I think it was, it came out almost like he had a chip on his shoulder after the reception of 14 Shots to the Dome, because it was very, very much so not a commercially successful or like acclaim wise, people just didn't fuck with it. I think LL is definitely the original Drake. I think he definitely is the blueprint for a lot of things that Drake does. And like Taurian said, he takes himself in way more serious. And I don't have anything publicly this bad to say about LL because he's crazy.
He is fucking crazy.
I enjoyed this album so much. This was a great album. It definitely took me back to like the old school hip hop, which, you know, I'm a huge fan of. The production on this album is like, whoa, like I want to know the budget they spent. Like, god dang. This is a beautiful album, and you know, this is a real dope album. That's all I have, honestly. Nothing bad. I can't find anything bad about this album. I really can't. Even down to the artwork, down to the music videos. Like this is really good stuff.
I mean, this album isn't without its awkward moments though, because LL just has a lot of cringy moments. I mean, even this intro is cringy. That laugh that he does is very cringy.
I mean, it's LL, so I really can't say, you know, that.
LL's that really is that dude. Like Tony said it best. It's the dude who takes himself too seriously that he can't help but come off corny and doesn't realize it is, but people just laugh at him anyway. Like he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. So I guess we can. What's up, T?
I was gonna piggyback off of that. Like LL like is like he's a very arrogant like person. And one other thing that like a lot of people don't, you have to be like a super like hip hop historian or fan, where like all the beefs that he has throughout the history of hip hop. And on this album, like we'll get into it. I don't want to talk about it too early. I want to wait as it goes along. But the beef that he's had in hip hop are hilarious, because you know how like when we think of rap beef, we think of like rappers like actually like physically harming each other and stuff. But like a lot of LL's rap beefs was just that he always like, you know, prided himself on being the best MC. So him like getting at rappers or like him being messy, like putting artists on songs and things like that and like causing problems and causing rips, or him like seeing a situation and kind of taking advantage of the situation and twisting it because he knew it would get attention. And then like now, you know, throughout the pandemic, he's been on social media addressing certain things and him giving explanations. You're literally like, LL, you really didn't have to do that. And he like there's one artist who he had like a heated like back and forth with for years, and then to come to find out, LL just thought it was clever, and it was no beef at all. And LL did not give a fuck to clear it up. It's just funny. We'll get into it as the album goes. It's just funny to me. Okay,
so we'll get into the actual album. And like I said, we can skip over the intro. It's just very awkward, and he just laughs, and it's weird.
It's awkward how it starts off.
Yeah, but the song itself, the next song is "Make It Hot," and it's produced by the Trackmasters with this beautiful sample. which samples the Barge's biggest hit. I like it. Love that song. The way Trackmasters flipped it was really dope. The way LL was rapping on it was dope. What do y'all think?
It's a weird way to start the album off, but it's a dope track, so it didn't really matter. And I kind of got like Dr. Dre vibes from the production of Trackmasters on this beat. So like I wasn't sure like if when they started working on this project, were the Trackmasters trying to appease LL because of 14 Shots to the Dome, or if they were just like, yo, like, because at this time California still was winning. Like, so I wasn't sure if they were like, all right, you know, we're still going to try to give you like a plush sound, but make it more, you know, of the sounding of the times. So I wasn't sure about that, but I was just like, all right, cool. Like, I love the beat and I enjoy it. But I know that LL really wanted to make an emphasis on New York rap because the West Coast was doing so well at the time. Like, they were all over the charts. And that's another thing that I wanted to chime in on. Like, LL really, really wanted to cross over because he got tired of being pigeonholed just as a rapper. And MC Hammer was pissing him off. Like, he was just like, yo, like, MC Hammer's supposed to be like a pop rapper, but like he keeps coming at us. Like he had beef with MC Hammer, like legit over being like a good MC. Because don't sleep, MC Hammer can rap. It's just that like he became like this huge star and was selling all these records, and LL kind of wanted a piece of that. So he was like, yo, I'm the best MC. I should be the one crossing over. So that was like the genesis of him making crossover hits.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the intro. I enjoyed the first track.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It definitely set the mood for what I'm about to go into. Yeah, nothing bad to say about this one.
Danny, what you think?
I think all right. I like this song. I think it's a very weird. All right, we don't talk about the intros or interludes a lot, so the intro is just weird as fuck on this, and the way it comes in to start this song is really fucking weird to me. Like, it sounds like it's in the middle of an album as opposed to just starting off. But as Taurian said, the fact that it's such a great song, it's kind of like you just go ahead with it. But he starts off and he's just coming with bars. And also by this point, you can tell LL has fully adapted his sound to this time period. And is fully more comfortable in that time sounds, where I feel like, as we had said, the 14 Shots of the Dome was it came off with more of a West Coast sound. And I think it was LL just understanding, like Taurian said, it was weird for a artist of his era to be able to last this time. And this is the first song where we're hearing him, I think, like, and it's a great intro for it because he's finally comfortable in this sound that he has for that time period.
I'd agree. Okay, so we'll get into the next song. Next song is Hip Hop. Hip Hop is produced by the Trackmasters. I do like this song. It's one of the rare things of, like, it kind of goes back to what Taurian said about like how LL takes himself way too seriously. But with this song, he pays homage to the rappers that was before him and the rappers that he feel are coming up that are dope, that deserve his time. So like, it's called hip hop, so it's kind of like it broadens like his message. Like it's really surprising to come from LL because I mean, L came out in in the early 80s, 84, 85. So
about 85.
Yeah, so he's always carried himself like an OG. So like, for him to pay homage, I thought was pretty dope. I like this song.
Mind you, LL was still extremely young. Like, LL in 95 had to be, so wait, when LL came out, he was 16. So he was, in 95, LL was like 29, 30 years old. So he was still like extremely young, and he's paying homage to some rappers or like calling certain rappers like OGs in the game that are like, might be like either younger than him or like around the same age, but like that's how young hip hop was. So it was just, really funny. But other rappers have taken notice from this style of song making and piggybacked off what LL did. There's a lot of things that LL did first, but people typically don't live with LL Cool J albums anymore. Like obviously back then they did, but like now, like I'm pretty sure like most times we all know LL Cool J singles, but we don't like let's go into like his album cuts. So this was a cool album cut. It's nothing that I would like ever tell somebody that they need to hear from LL, but it was a cool album cut.
I'd agree with that. I just want to add before Danny and Julius say their parts. The song samples the SOS band, one of their singles, Tell Me If You Still Care. That's the sample from that. Julius,
okay. Yeah.
This again, production, amazing production. It's a cool hip hop ode. LL's flow is just so magnificent. I feel like a lot of people don't say that often. His flow is like really, really good.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he should get more credit for that.
LL is a great rapper, and I think the problem is just that like he's become more famous for just being who he is than what he does. If that makes sense, what I'm saying to y'all, like he's just more famous. Like as you like when like my little brother knows who LL Cool J is, but my little brother can't tell me a LL Cool J song. He just knows that LL Cool J used to rap, and well, I'm not gonna say he used to rap. He's not retired. But like he's a rapper, and he was out when my mom was a teenager, and that he's on TV now. So like that's how my little brother sees it. So yeah, like, and my little brother has never seen In the House. All he knows is that LL Cool J is on CSI. Like so that tells you everything that like my little brother doesn't watch CSI. He just sees the commercials. I just asked him like that randomly today when I was texting him just to use this for today's episode.
I forgot what I was going to say completely because I was laughing at that because I know your brother. I think with this, I think it's such a smooth sounding like beat. Like I don't know why I love this song because I always tend to find these ode to hip hop songs usually corny, except with a few exceptions. But this beat is just such a smooth beat to me. I feel like Sade should do a remix to it. And I always wish I heard her voice on this beat.
Sade really don't fuck with these rap niggas. I love that about her. She's so consistent with it. She don't fuck with it at all. I love it. I was just gonna add.
Do we have?
What happened?
I was gonna ask. Do we have any? I'm curious to search like her opinions on rap, like her quotes on hip hop. Like I wonder, is it like that she doesn't care for hip hop, or is it just that like she never feels like it's right, to blend that with her music? Because I know there's hip hop artists that have reached out to her. I know for one, Drake has reached out to her multiple times. Has had to.
I thought they did work together.
Yeah, so
or he sampled her.
Yeah, no, so Drake actually did want her to be when Thank Me Later. He reached out when Thank Me Later was coming out. They never disclosed what song it was that he wanted her on, but I always assumed that it was karaoke. Because when you listen to karaoke, it sounds like Sade could be on that. Like it sounds like a Sade beat. So he reached out, and I know, multiple rappers have reached out. There's no quote from what I know, but I know that she's very particular about her voice and what she does on songs.
It's because that beat has that annoying ass hammer in the background. I bet you. That hammer sound like good.
Oh yeah.
I hate that sound. I love that song. Hate that sound.
Yeah, it could be that, but I was gonna say though, like, because Taurian brought up an interesting point about In the House. Like In the House was shooting at the same time of him recording this album. Mm-hmm. I always found that dope when an artist turn actor or whatever, like gets back into their bag while they doing, like they juggle the shit. Like Fresh Prince was airing when Will Smith was becoming a whole fucking star. Like he did Bad Boys when he was on Fresh Prince. He did Independence Day. So like it's interesting to juggle that and then come out with some fire on both ends. So like it's interesting. I mean, people don't talk about the In the House sitcom enough. Like, I mean, it was good at that time, and they had like a good cast, like a strong black cast. You had Debbie Allen on that shit. Like, So he was just juggling and being a rap superstar at the same time. That's fucking swag. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that LL and Will Smith like had the same management for a long time. So that's why LL was getting a lot of looks and opportunities, and LL was like very competitive with Will Smith. But it's just Will Smith was just more charismatic, and I think LL didn't get a lot of roles because he got a big ass head, and like they was just like, bro, we'll see you without a hat on. I'm dead ass. Like,
yeah,
his head just isn't.
You. Like you got to think how hard it was to convince LL to stop wearing a hat in the first place.
Yeah, every time that LL popped up without a hat on, it was always a moment in my house. Holy shit, he don't have a hat on. Like, it was always a moment. Like that was a big moment. So I definitely agree with that. We'll move into the next song though. Next song is Hey Lover. Hey Lover features Boyz II Men. It's produced by the Trackmasters with that distinct sample from I believe I know it's Michael Jackson, right? Is it Michael?
Say it again.
The sample is Michael.
The sample is from the Lady of My Life.
Yeah.
Lady of My Life from the Thriller album. Yes. So they just sped it up a little bit, but amazing song. I actually remember an episode of In the House where he performs this on the sitcom. But yeah,
right, well he does dual, right? So he's marrying and LL Cool J.
Yeah. So, but this was a big song. I used to like the song a lot.
Nah, this shit was fire. This was the
song. This song. I'm sorry, Danny. This song is a stalker anthem. Let's think about it. Like, we thinking, like, you know, when you're watching the video, as a kid, I didn't realize it, but like he's imagining all of this stuff that he's doing with this woman, and he's never met her. He's just daydreaming about doing all these things, just watching this woman from afar in the projects.
Is that
this
wrong?
Is crazy.
Is it wrong though?
He's just following it. Yes, the hell it is wrong, Julius. Like, he's just following this woman around New York City, imagining stealing her from her man. And then he knows so much about her. Like, this is creepy.
He said, I gotta take you from your man. That's my mission. If his love is real, he gotta handle competition.
Yo, nah, I'm shooting somebody. Like LL's lucky he didn't get shot for this shit. Fuck out of here. Competition. Compete with my gun.
But wait, I forget what he said. He drinks too much and smokes too many blunts.
Say it again.
Yeah. This is a.
He drinks too much and smokes too many blunts.
This song is also a dirty macking song.
Yeah,
it's super dirty mac.
It's a huge.
LL Cool J is hating, he's dirty macking, and he's stalking this woman. Like, all of these things, right? And everybody thinks like, oh man, LL's is so smooth. He's licking his lips, watching shorty from around the corner. No,
LL's your toxic uncle.
Forget toxic uncle. LL should be locked up for this song and throw away the damn key. Like, this song was so creepy. The stills from the video in this song is just LL like standing, and like whoever directed this video was masterful, because what he did was like he had like the shade and the light on LL mad times, and I was just like, yo, this is great. Like, this is like the movie Fear, where LL is just stalking this woman and just watching her. Like, yo, like when he tells the story about daydreaming about her after taking her to the Rucker.
You see how he opens the second verse? He said, I see you at the bus stop waiting every day. Your man must think it's safe for you to travel that way. That's creepy. That is creepy. I see you every day.
Your man's must think it's safe is crazy.
Nah, all I can picture is LL like coming up to her. Like, remember in Borat when Borat tried to kidnap Pam Anderson and put a plastic bag over her head? I just felt like LL was like going to like run up on this girl at the bus stop and just put a bag over her and just take her with him. Like, it really is troublesome to me that this song is such a bop.
He says, still he can't stop me from having daydreams, tonguing you down with vanilla ice cream. Why are you tonguing a girl down with vanilla ice cream? That's nuts. That's like
also
I feel sicko mode.
I feel like this album is what Ari Spears bases his LL Cool J imitation off of. Because this album, if you listen to it, he mentions licking women up and down with ice cream and butter. I don't know what his obsession with butter was during this album, but all he wanted to do was rub women down with butter and lick them up and down. What like could Julius?
Bruh,
Can
not
you
butter,
chime
though.
in?
Not butter.
Julius, could you chime in after you say yes?
Not butter. Not butter. Not butter.
I feel like Julius tells women he wants to lick them up and down with ice cream and butter and like makes noise like oh.
Julius definitely puts a lighter to a stick of butter and melts it on women back.
I mean, what kind of butter? Because it could be the Irish butter, it could be the Amish butter.
Yeah, Julius, you a sick motherfucker, bro.
You a sick motherfucker, Julius.
Nigga, Julius, I can see Julius taking a stick of butter out with a regular lighter and just lighting that shit on Shorty back.
Like wax, like they do a wax, but a stick of butter instead.
Yeah.
This is Julius.
Kerrygold butter, yes.
And then Julius throwing back a swig of fucking E&J.
Tequila mix.
You know he not wasting that. Julius
not at all.
Whole liquor. But we won't get into Julius charades. We'll get into the next song.
The evil Julius.
All right.
Oh, he keep one on deck. All right, next song is Doing It, and it features a young lady by the name of LaShawn. It's produced by LL Cool J and Tumbling Dice. I'm sorry. This was a big single. This was a really, really big single for LL. I couldn't even listen to this around my mom because of all the moaning on the song. Like she
got the shit slapped out of me.
Yeah, my mom wasn't having me listening to this. I remember when LL performed this at an award show. MTV music video awards. My grandmother smacked the shit out of me for playing this. Because also the girl he was performing with, they was grinding. Yeah. They was grinding on the floor, and then there was a scene with them on the motorcycle. He was in front of her, like kind of thrusting it. And I'm like, yo, this is kind of crazy. They doing this right now. But
his nigga's pelvic thrust like will rival like Cisco, my nigga. Like his pelvic thrust was crazy.
So that shit was wild.
Yeah, my older siblings definitely got yelled at for playing this while I was in the living room. But by that point, they were all like 17, 18, and fucking in their 20s too.
Yeah. And then he, if you guys remember, you guys remember the video? There was like a scene where he goes to like a peep show and he's watching Shorty and he's just eating an apple, just watching her. It was so strange.
Freaky nigga, bro.
I always
felt Cool J got cute dog energy.
I feel like I've seen it several times in movies and shows. There's a creepy dude staring at a girl eating an apple. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be, but they always have the creepy dude eating an apple for some reason while staring at a girl. Well,
I'm sorry, and I'm really mad at myself for not doing the research on the imagery. But there's a very famous painting of there's a headless man, and there's a hat, and there's a green apple, and there's a sky behind them, and that was the inspiration for the imagery of that in the video. I just can't remember the name of the artist and the name of the painting. But
I know a painting you're talking about. I don't know it either.
But we've all seen it before, so that's where that's the reason for him eating the apple. But I just forgot the name of the painting. But LL Cool J is just a freak nigga. Like he has Q dog energy. And when I say Q dog energy, if you went to an HBCU, everyone knows that like Q dogs will literally run around the campus bragging about eating pussy, eating ass, and put women on their shoulders doing just nasty shit. And LL Cool J, if he didn't have the life of the rapper that he is, he absolutely would have went to college and just been eating ass all over campus. His name would have been Ass Eating James.
Yo.
It would have been Ass Eating James Todd, yeah.
AE Cool J?
We'll get into the next song unless somebody else.
Wait, we gotta say, like, this shit is a classic and iconic video and song. Like, this shit took everything over. I remember literally being fucking like 7, 8 years old, and this was the only song I heard like over and over again throughout the day at the time. I can't even tell you what other songs were on the radio at the time, but I remember distinctly hearing this everywhere, from cars. You know, it's just fucking. And the video also was the first time my dad had to explain to me what a peep show was, because I didn't understand what the whole thing, what he was looking through the window and everything was, and that's when my siblings got in trouble for watching the video.
Yeah, and I'll also say
Yo,
this,
wow.
the production on this song was amazing, and a lot of people, like, because at this time, remember, like, we were at like the height of the East Coast West Coast beef, so you know, him mentioning Tupac's name in the song, like everybody, you know, like everybody was trying to like find stuff, but LL just knew, like LL understood like algorithm before algorithm was a thing. He was like, Tupac is one of the most talked about rappers, period. So I know if I even say something or reference him like there, I'll get that attention. So that's why he references Tupac's name in the song versus another rapper. Like LL looked at everything as an MC, because LL wasn't a street dude. Obviously he had street dudes around him, but that's not where he comes from. But he just knew like it would garner attention. And he also, like, you know, knew like he wasn't no punk, so he just knew that he wasn't going to be approached, and he wasn't like one of those people to put himself in position. He was one of the rappers that like definitely knew to check in. So like when he went to other cities, he kind of like knew not a lot of surprises weren't going his way, even if he had like beef with some of the hardest dudes, because he might have spoken to the harder dude 1A versus having beef with hard dude 1B.
That's true. I see that as well. Yeah, he never prided himself on being a street dude, but yeah, he definitely has street dudes around. The next song,
it was dope. To that point, it was dope that he would beef with street dudes and didn't give a fuck, and he would really just come at every, you know, like he came at every battle full fledged, no matter who it was, and he was never portraying a tough guy. He was just the dude who could fight.
Yeah, LL was never pussy. Like that's the thing. Like he never gave off that energy.
He is a psychopath, all right? He's not a street dude, but let's be honest. There's a story about a man breaking into his house, LL catching him, beating the fuck out of him, the dude escaping, like running out the front door, and LL dragged him back into the house just to beat his ass some more. LL Cool J is a psychopath.
Where can I find that story?
You just Google it. Just Google LL Cool J home invasion. And the man, he broke ribs, a nose, like it was crazy. And then I don't know if you saw that mitt work he had in Too Deep when he was playing God. That LL got hands. LL got
yeah, you're talking about In Too Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fucked that dude up. All right, we'll get into the next song. Next song is Life As, and it's produced by Easy Moby. I think, Taurian, was this what you had a story on?
No, not this song, but on Life As, he worked with Easy Moby because Easy Moby worked on Ready to Die, and he wanted to make sure that even though he worked with the track master, they had like a real plush, you know, polished sound. He wanted to make sure that he had like the gritty production. But no, not on Life As is what I wanted to have the song on. It's coming up though, but this is LL basically just using his lyricism and just being on his real hip hop shit and keeping it hood. Nah, that's not what I had the story on. It's coming.
Okay, but this song was alright too though.
This song was great, and shout out to the fact that it's on the Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Which is crazy. So he had this in the tuck already for some time, because Street Fighter came out the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But back then, you got to realize it's not like now. The recording process back then was a lot different. I think at this point they were using DATs, which was like you had to have the physical piece. Like it's not like it's the actual. It's from what I understand, it's like a cartridge piece or whatever. But it's an actual physical piece you had to have to record at this point. So back then you couldn't just send people files and send it back. And also you had to work around everybody's schedule. So if you had to be in place in person with the recording. So processes back then were drastically different than it is now. It's not like a quarantine where people are working together, just sending emails, sending songs back and forth with each other. Like back then you had to fucking take the time and actually build with a person in person, get the beat, and then really go through all of that. So albums had to take 2 to 3 years was more understandable back then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's agreed.
That's why when we get to, you know, Jay and or rather, you know, when Pac and DMX did it, you know, they had the 2 albums in a year. Like that's why everybody, it's such a big feat for that time period.
Exactly. Yeah, X doing that shit was like remarkable. That shit was crazy. I remember that being a big deal at that time.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
Well, this Dark and Hell Was Hot was his demo. It was already done, and they only had to add like 2 or 3 more songs.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was able to get another album within the year, because his Dark and Hell Is Hot was already like ready when he got to the label.
Yeah, I think so. They kind of songs. They took songs that they already like. Some of the songs they was already sitting on, and he just had to record a few more. All right, so we'll get to the next song, which is Asha. Asha features Keith Murray. It's produced by Trackmasters. Classic production. What you call it? It was like this song became one of the main focal points of freestyle verses, of many freestyle verses.
Yes.
Like this was on plenty of mixtapes with different rappers just freestyling to this shit. It's like one of those. Classic production. This song is great.
All right, Danny, you want to go? Because this is very long. This is very Rob-esque, long-winded. What I have to go into.
I feel like you're gonna explain the whole thing better than I would. So go ahead, and I'm gonna just sit back and listen.
All right, so I'm going to talk about this and the remix, because we're just doing the regular version. We're not doing the deluxe, right? So obviously, the I Shot Ya was a play off of everything that transpired with Tupac when he got shot at the studio down in Times Square. And he just did wordplay. I said LL Cool J, one of those people, he knew that it was a big deal that, they was like, yo, who shot Tupac? So he just did that because he knew it would get people talking. Because LL took everything like from an MC standpoint and not a street standpoint. He's just like, I'm the illest MC and Tupac is in the news. I should be on the front page of the news, right? So that was just one element of the song. The other element of the song is Keith Murray. Keith Murray, to me, is one of the most hilarious rappers that have ever existed. Number one, the fact that his real name sounds really stupid. Like, I know Keith Murray is just a regular-ass name, but it's just like, like Keith Murray was just like a regular person. Like, Keith Murray was a college student. He wasn't no super street dude. He was just super duper rowdy from Long Island. And Eric Sermon from EPMD gave him his opportunity. Now, Keith Murray could rap, but he just always found himself in some bullshit. Now, I'm about to get to that point of him always being in some bullshit.
I thought it was Eric Sermon. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
So because of this song, when Keith Murray was in L.A. at House of Blues doing a performance, Tupac and a bunch of Bloods pulled up on him and pressed him about the song and was like, yo, was this song about me? And Keith Murray was like, yo, I don't think so. Like, and Pac was like, so why is the song called I Shot Ya? And obviously everyone was upset when Biggie had the song Who Shot Ya, right? Yeah. So that's an element of the original version. With the remix, there was a big deal of the remix because it was everyone's introduction to Foxy Brown, and a lot of people argue that Foxy Brown like bodied everybody on the track, right? Fat Joe got to work with LL Cool J, who he coined as his idol, and then who else was on? Oh, and then Prodigy is on a song, and he was one of the first rappers to rap about the Illuminati and secret societies, and it made a lot of people look up what that was about. And then also he dissed Keith Murray on the song because him and Keith Murray didn't get along. So everybody looked at it as messy because everybody was like, yo, LL, why would you let him get on this? Like, Keith Murray's your man. He's a Def Jam artist. Like, why would you let Prodigy get on the song? And LL was like, yo, it's just hip hop, baby. Like, how LL talk. So I just thought that was like a very hilarious thing. Also, I want to get into the fact that LL, this is MC Hammer and Ice-T. And his beef with Ice-T was just really stupid because back in the 80s, it was just all about who's the best rapper. And at that time, Ice-T coming from the West Coast was like, well, I'm the coldest rapper. So they just went back and forth about who was the best rapper for years and didn't like each other. And then when they finally like was in the same space, it was because of Africa Bambaataa. And then they realized that they had no reason not to like each other. And now like they're like great friends. Yeah, I just find all of this just funny because like LL Cool J, he's just a messy bitch. Just a messy bitch. Yeah.
Nah. All right. So, but first, I thought it was Eric Sermon who had brought Keith Murray out. That's why he ended up going with Def Squad.
I said that.
No, you had said it was Eric. I thought you said Eric Parrish for some reason. My bad.
Yeah, Eric Sermon from EP&D.
Yeah, got it. But yo, Keith Murray is one of the most underrated MCs to me, besides being the funniest. And I think like a lot of people see the Redman as the star out of that combination and what came out of the whole EPMD and Def Squad and all that circle. But yeah, this shit, I thought it was wild. Like I remember being a kid and then being like, oh nah, LL shot him? Like, nah. Cause you know, you're fucking, I'm 7 years old and then I'm taking shit little. I'm like, yo, I thought LL was soft. Like he's just that dude on TV. But yeah.
You know what's funny? I never even thought about it like that. I never even made that connection. Like LL was so far, to me, LL was so far removed from what I got from Biggie and Pac that I never even grouped them together. Even though, you know, I feel like, you know, like Taurian said, that's kind of what he wanted, like to be mentioned in the same breath as them because they were the biggest thing at the time and they got the most media news. And though LL wasn't shunned, he wasn't in the news like them. Yeah. Like he was respected, but he wasn't in the news like them because he came way before them. So he kind of was just in his own lane. So I think he was just always kind of fighting for respect. But thinking back, like, yeah, I never even grouped in that situation or that era of rap and let alone gangster rap with LL. I listened to them on separate bases. Like it was just so separate to me. So that's funny. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, just like LL he understood how to captivate conversation, and it was like highly talked about. And like as we know, like with 4 3 2 1, what he did, it kept from the magazines and everything like that. And it worked obviously because Tupac pressed Keith Murray. Tupac knew he couldn't get anywhere near LL, so he had to press Keith Murray. Like, you was in the studio with him. What is this about?
LL would have.
That's just funny.
LL's energy, like he would definitely welcome a fight from Pac at that time. Like he would have welcomed.
Yo, he would have called Pac a meatball. He would have been like, "Yo, are you serious? You fucking meatball?"
Nah, calling somebody a meatball is still crazy to me.
Yo, LL Cool J is 6'2". Pac was like 5'9". Like, oh my god, that would have been an ass open for you to talk about, boy.
Yeah, it would have. All right, so the next song is Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith is, let me see here. Mr. Smith is produced by Shot Skills and the Trackmasters. I've said on this show plenty of times how much banks on a title track for an album. And this song, I mean, I like this song, but it, you know, I can kind of do without this.
That's my general feeling. I'm underwhelmed by this song completely. It just doesn't.
I agree.
Cock the hammer, peep out the grammar. Now,
this is one of the most underwhelming title tracks for a song, and I genuinely think that I know this sounds funny, but I would like to believe that this song was leftovers from the 14 Shots to the Dome album. And I think that he knew that he was going to call the next album Mr. Smith, and he just kept it, and he was hell-bent on it. Because if you look on the album, he splits the album into two parts. So this is side two. So this is the beginning of side two. So I think that he kind of like wanted to let people in like on like strip down, like have two sides. Like one side is LL and the other side is Mr. Smith, like that. So I think it hell bent on making sure that this track made the album. But I wish that somebody would have talked him out of it. Tina Davis was his manager at the time, who is the person who discovered Chris Brown. I really wish Tina would have talked him out of putting this track on the album. It just named something else, Mr. Smith.
I'd agree with that. I guess, yeah, we can just skip right over this. The next song is No Airplay. No Airplay is produced by Chad Elliott. This is another song that I guess it kind of goes with the run that Mr. Smith was on, like the whole, the wave that Mr. Smith was on. It has that very old school vibe. Another song that I'm kind of like, about. How do y'all feel about it?
For me, this song, my bad. So this beat is like really soulful and it's cool because I could tell that LL was going for a lyrical, like he was just trying to show off his lyrical ability. And I think he was just getting tired. Like, all right, y'all had Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and y'all was talking about they the best, but they didn't last as long as me. Then, I got to deal with Nas, Biggie, Tupac, to deal with that shit. So I just felt like he always wants to remind us that he's lyrically still up there. But I just think that I'm not going to say LL didn't experience enough life to be as lyrical, but his imagination isn't as other rappers. So sometimes it could come off to somebody as corny, but I get what he's going for, so I still respect it. Like on this song, it sounded like he took like the battle rapper approach. Like even with him using like the double time flow, like he uses the fast flow towards the end of the song, and I'm like, oh, okay, like he has versatility and he has all of the skills of a great MC, and that's why like I think he's kind of like the Rodney Dangerfield of rap. Like I can't get no respect. Like I've done all this, and that's the thing with LL. So like on his albums, he's always doing that. Every LL album, there's a song where like he takes the time to like rap his heart out, just so you can like be like, damn, LL still got it,
I like this track exactly for everything Taurian stated. Anything that comes battle rap related or any stance like that I'm here for it. And he's just trying to bar it up and show that he's, like Taurian said, he's lasted time. I like it. I just really don't listen to it because I can't deal with the fucking long ass intro to it that's attached to it.
Yeah, that intro is maybe that's what's taking me out of it. Like that intro is so like
it's very draining when listening to the album. Like it literally is deflating coming after the last track into this.
Okay, well, we'll bring the energy up a little bit with "Loungin'." "Loungin" is the next song, and it features Terry and Monica. It's produced by LL himself and Tumbling Dice. This song has a sample. This song samples "Night and Day" by I'll Be Sure. Very, very smooth track. Of course, this isn't the Loungin' that people know and love, which featured Total, which was the bigger song. But this was pretty good too. I like this one too. I mean, it's nowhere near the remix for me, but it's a pretty good offering.
R&B LL is like R&B Drake. Like no one's better than LL at it. Like when he gets into that bag, it's like a thing of beauty. I'm really shocked that like LL and Drake haven't crossed paths. I'm pretty sure they've had like maybe one or two conversations, but I would really like to see like something if like I don't even know like how it work in that capacity because Drake doesn't need LL, but like I feel like they would come out of the studio with something really, 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 really dope because LL has an ear for R&B, and I think that's something that he didn't really tap into. And I think if he would have signed an R&B artist and worked with them, I think would have made like amazing albums. Like he understands how to like set the tone for women and make certain records like really okay to like chill to. The fact that he was the producer on this song just lets you know that like, all right, granted, it was based off of Night and Day by I'll Be Sure, but for him to take this and flip it and write lyrics to it is pretty impressive, right? So that's my first point. My second point is the remix obviously is the better version, and I miss it when remixes were actually remixes. Like when you take a song and you make it a completely different song and you use different artists on it, you have different lyrics. People call remixes now is one of the most laziest things I've ever seen in the history of music, because now a remix is just adding a feature. And I think that is terrible. Like that is something that is a travesty. And LL was really doing that. Another thing that I also think that people don't realize is this album sold 2 million records, and most people had to go back and buy the deluxe because the original album didn't have these remixes, and that was like another thing way of selling records. Like, so people would like buy into like the first single, and then he will put out these remixes on the radio, and people realize it's not on the album. So then that means what? Oh, time to put out the deluxe. So artists have found a way to do deluxe albums differently now. Like Lil Uzi, I think, is like at the forefront of that with the way he puts out deluxe albums. But LL was kind of like pioneering that because his remixes were like a big deal. Obviously, like Puff was the person who made remixes like mainstream, but LL followed suit because, you know, he worked with Puff, and the the track masters were rivaling with the Hitmen and Puff. So it was pretty smart what he did. Like he had whole videos and treatments for it, and LL was definitely keeping the lights on at Def Jam.
Mm-hmm. LL was keeping the lights on Def Jam for a very long time.
Yep.
Yes, he was, and this was a great offering, and it kind of leads into. Well, it doesn't lead into this, but it leads into what Taurian was talking about. Well, the next song does. Next song is Hollis to Hollywood. It's produced by Trackmasters. And this goes into what Taurian was saying about kind of him feeling the need to prove that he's a top tier MC. Like he opens it with this really, really cringy intro where he's talking about metaphor freaks and people that love metaphors and how that's in rap now. So he kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of says without saying like, yo, this is what y'all want, then yeah, I'll give y'all this, I guess, if this is the bag that y'all in. And he goes into it. But the song itself isn't a bad song. It's not a bad song. I just hate the intro of it. Like why you gotta let us know what you're doing before you do it, you know? Felt like he should have just got into the bag without explaining himself.
Yeah, I go ahead. No, go ahead.
So LL is very good at ideas for songs, but then the way it's executed, it's like it's so obvious that it makes it unclever. But when he thinks about it in his head, it's clever. So what he did on this song is he makes all these movie references to get his metaphors off, and I'm like, okay, I get where you're going, and maybe it's just because since we've gotten so many better rappers that have done things like this and used double entendres a lot better. It's kind of like tongue in cheek when you listen to it, right? But what LL did was really dope with this at that time, and it makes me think of Ludacris in a sense, because Ludacris took it and like really really ran with it with that style of rap, right? Then when I listen to this song, I'm like, oh snap! He used the KRS-One sample, and it's funny because like now when we hear artists like sample like a rapper in a hook, it's like from like 20 years ago. And we're like, oh, you hear that? This KRS-One song that he sampled, "Return of the Boom Bap," came out 2 years prior to this. It came out in '93, so came out in '95, and he was already sampling it. So I thought that was really cool, and I was just like, oh wow, like he got into the boom bap bag, and at this time people were saying boom bap was already played out, but LL still took a risk and did that. So I thought that was cool. And then to like make sure that he paid homage, he made sure he sampled KRS, made sure KRS-One got a royalty check from it. So that was just like LL being like a good guy. So like KRS-One can't say, oh, you trying to bite my sound? He's like, listen, here, man, here's a check for you that you want to get regularly because this album's about to sell records. I'm gonna use your voice. And yes, I'm going to use your sound, but I'm going to pay you for it. So don't come out talking no shit, because I don't think I wanted that KRS-One smoke. I could be wrong, but that's pretty obvious what he did. When I read the backstory on how he went about it and like made sure like KRS-One wouldn't come out saying he's biting my style, I thought that was pretty smart and clever.
It's true. It's part of what makes him one of the Goats or the original Goat.
Yeah.
It's he was just the biggest fuck you MC. I'm gonna be the best there is, and then most of the people that we've seen as goats kind of have a little bit of that to them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
agreed. And we'll get into the next song, which is "God Bless." It's produced by Tumbling Dice. I love this sample. This sample is so hard to me. Kim rapped on this sample too for her first single from Hardcore.
Yes.
Yeah, this was a really, really good one. Like when I was listening to this album again, like all the samples are so notable because all the samples are such popular songs. And for him to be doing this in this time frame, like Taurian was saying, like this was just big. Like I mean, this was only in '95. He was only but so many years removed from the songs that he was sampling. So this was a good song. This is another song where he showcased his rap skills that I actually really like.
Y'all want to know what I wrote in my notes while I was taking for this? I wrote, LOL, this is just LL talking bullshit. Because LL has a habit, because back then, like, rappers thought, like, just saying outlandish shit back then was like, ooh, ah. So, like, it's LL doing his lyrical ability, but he's just saying, like, ridiculous shit that doesn't make sense. And it's funny that, like, rap has evolved from that, but, like, back then, like, rappers would just say the most outlandish shit and, like, make it rhyme or, like, say it in a certain way with in cadence, and then it will have everyone's attention. So I just always thought to myself, like, yo, this guy is ridiculous. Like,
I mean, we already let him get off earlier. Yeah, we already let him get.
Oh, go my bad, Danny.
We already let him get off earlier in the album. I get more ass than a toilet seat. Like, what do you expect at this point?
Yo, man, it's just really funny to me, and it's funny because his singles are so big, we don't pay attention to his album cuts, and when you listen to his album cuts, like that's what really, really, takes the cake for me. His album cuts are hilarious to me. I love them.
All right, well, let me see. Can we move to the next song? Yeah, we'll move to the next one. Get
the drop on him.
Yeah, get the drop on him. It's produced by the Trackmasters. Danny, what you had?
I like that I think it's like the first song in a while that he didn't just have an intro that took forever on it. Like, it's just a quick get to it. All right, check it out.
Oh yeah, and, right into it.
And I like that he like, knows way too much about coke to start off. Just by chance, just saying.
Get the drop on him is LL showing off both his styles. He was able to make a street club anthem hybrid, and I really thought that this was an odd choice to make the last song on the album, because it doesn't end the album. Like, you listen to it, it's just like an abrupt ending to the album, and I feel like his ego is so large, like it just always like makes him still like want to do this, like where he has these songs where he does like braggadocious shit. And I don't know I know this album dropped in November of that year, right? So was Purple Tape out yet? Like, I don't know, but I feel like he was trying to make a coke rap song, if not mistaken, like, if you don't think so. So I just think that that's what he was trying to do. Like, even like referencing that in the beginning of the song is just like, all right, LL, all right. Like, it's just really funny.
You were gonna say something, Danny? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that I just agreeing with T. It's a really weird ending for an album. I do love the sample, the bass line in the sample. But this, I think it wraps up, like, it ends on good energy, even though it's a weird just cut off. And the album actually doesn't feel as long as it is to me. But then again, I also have I've always had the deluxe version, so
Yeah, same.
The deluxe version has like an extra 8 songs. So I guess listening to the regular version for this, it was just like, oh wow, that's it.
Yeah, it just ends off. This is, I guess, yeah, it is just an abrupt ending. But just to even wrap it up, damn, did you guys have anything to say on the Who Shot Your remix? I know Taurian shared something before, but
that's just amazing.
With that, yeah, it's.
Who do you think had the best verse?
I might go Prodigy.
You think Prodigy?
Hold on, let me see.
Well, I'll give you my ranking. I got Foxy first. I got LL second. I got Prodigy third. And then I have Keith Murray and then Fat Joe. Fat Joe's last.
Wow. I don't know. Maybe I think I might. I think I got LL. Did you say you got LL second?
Yeah, I got LL second.
Yeah, I got LL second too. Just the way, LL anchors the track properly. Like he just comes on, like the way he comes on. Who the fuck? Like what the fuck? I thought I conquered the world. Like he just so mad. I'm like, yo, this shit is like the way he raps on that shit. And then even talking about he said, I make it hot for you bitches, female rappers too. I don't give a fuck, boo.
I'm listening to it right now. Like, I don't know. I just started it over because I gotta hear it again. Like, I'm like, damn, let me really give this.
Yo, he said, like, yo, I don't care if you a woman, like, you can get these bars. Like, I've never heard say some shit like that. Like, yo, that shit is just so wild to me. That's what, like, on any given day, that's what, to me, like, on any given day, LL has the top verse on this song. But every other day, it's Prodigy. But the way he's rapping on this shit was just intense. Like he's so mad on this shit. I love it. But we could close out the album. Mr. Smith being LL's 6th album, he had a lot to prove on this album, coming off of the flop with 14 Shots. I think he had a lot to prove. He for himself. I don't think people counted him out yet, but for himself, like he had a lot to really to get into. LL is a legend. I mean, this is like, and I think Danny was saying this off mic. I think I agree with him. This is LL's best album. I think this is his best offering that he's done. And Taurian disagrees, so I want to hear what he says.
So I feel that this is his 3rd defining album. Radio, Mama Said Knock You Out, Mr. Smith. All 3 albums he has something to prove. Radio, he had something to prove because he was the first superstar rap MC, because at that time in 85, you had to be in a group to be a rapper. So he proved, he broke that mold and became a teen rap sensation and went on to have a career, right? Mama Said Knock You Out was him coming back from the Kumo D beef and everyone clowning him for I Need Love, right? Then this album solidified his status as a rap legend because he showed longevity, because it capped off 10 years in the game and a decade in the game, and him being able to keep up because he was 30 years old when he made this album. But for me, Mama Said Knock You Out is his best album, just for everything that he did on that album and the everything surrounding it. I feel like that album particularly is always going to be the album that like when our kids come up, that might be Mama Said Knock You Out might be the first LL Cool J song that our kids hear, and the songs from the album, it just fit. It's a better placed album. The songs are placed better, and it just works. It just works. This album, Mr. Smith, for me, is his album that made him a crossover superstar. I know that I Need Love was a big deal for him, but I don't think people really bought into it because hip hop was still really young. This album, he was able to because his hit singles were so big, because Hey Love, because Loungin', and because of Doing It, he really was like on all the charts and like was everywhere. Like, so that's really like what did it. And then the videos were so good. But I just feel that this album, I wouldn't say is his best album. I would argue that Mama Said Knock You Out is LL Cool J's best album, and then I would also argue that Radio is his second best album. But I do understand that for some people, with all the advancements that we've had in hip hop, when you hear Radio, it sounds super dated because it's one of the early stages of hip hop. But Mr. Smith, I think, is his third best album in his catalog. That's, and all of our opinions, all opinions matter here. But it's just me, little old Taurian historian.
And what do you think, Danny?
My whole thing with that, I think you may be right. Like, after going through it with the album, I'm realizing that there's a lot of lulls in the energy and dips that are weird. I think it ends weird and it starts weird. So I guess I could say it's Taurian said it best. It's the more defining album, I guess, would be a better definition of it for LL, as opposed to what Mama Said Knock You Out is a better presented album and put together album that it is true.
Okay. So how we feeling as far as rating goes?
I'll go first. For me, this album gets 3 out of 5 waffles. And it gets 3 out of 5 waffles for this reason, for 2 reasons. One, his singles, for me, are a bigger draw to the album. Like, I genuinely only need from this album, I only need Make It Hot, Hey Lover, Doing It, and I Shot You, and Lounging. That's what I need from this album. If I never hear any of the other songs in this album again, I will be fine. But the singles that he had from this album are such a big deal. I just need to take those songs and add it to another LL album and figure out how to arrange it. I don't need any of these other songs from this album. I never need to hear them again. They can be thrown away. They could be erased from existence. So, but these singles are so good. That's why I give it a 3 out of 5.
And Danny?
I'm gonna go 3.5. I would normally go 4, but I'm realizing now, as going through it, and I've been listening to it while we've been recording, it just doesn't hit the same as it did as a kid. But I love this album growing up. Like, this album was amazing to me at fucking 7, 8 years old. So, yeah, I'm going with 3.5.
I think I agree with you on that rating. I'm going with a 3.5 as well. I think this album is big for me for that reason of being all of those singles were monstrous. And then, like, when you listen to the album cuts, there's only a couple disappointments. There's not many dip offs in this album. And some of the songs where he's really rapping, I really enjoy. So, like, there's not many dip offs in this album that I just can't tolerate. So I'm good with my 3.5. Julius is back, and what's your rating, sir?
About damn time. I'm gonna give it a 3. Yeah, I definitely agree. I give it a 3.5. I really enjoyed this album. This is a real good album. The production on this album was just super, super beautiful. The videos. It's like the standout tracks. Of course, you have the singles, of course. But then, you just have like Lounging, Make It Hot. I want to say Mr. Smith. I really, really I enjoyed those songs. I did. And I personally can't call it a classic because I wasn't like relevant. My ears weren't relevant for that time. But this is definitely a great album. This is definitely possibly one of LL's best albums. I haven't heard every single LL album, but I have heard many. Yeah, that's where I stand.
Okay. All right, so we can wrap it up with that. We all land at a 3 to 3.5 rating, which I think is pretty solid. I might want to fight one of us or all of us for not giving it a 5. I feel like
Al, you gotta getting jumped, dogs. I ain't even fighting. I'm shooting. I don't want no smoke.
I think the four of us right now. I think if LL tried to come at us, somebody got to get his legs, and we got him.
Yeah, I'm hitting him with something. Like I'm just letting you guys know that. Like,
foreign objects are definitely being brought into this. This is definitely being a.
We can't leave till he's down. Like he'll come for us.
Still got me blocked.
It's a T1000. He's going to keep coming. He won't stop.
LL still got me blocked on Twitter, so I think.
So he's going for you first. So all right. So we got someone to take the first punch.
We gotta go.
Reg is the Taurus, so Reg's getting the first hit. Yeah.
We gotta go for his knees. I'm going for his knees.
You're going down. You're the distraction. He's gonna hit you first.
All right. So I'm first class Reg,
and I'm Taurian B,
and we off this. Peace.
Peace.